Does this sound familiar? You start the life insurance conversation with your customer only to have them stop you and tell you that they already have enough life insurance, or better yet, that they don't believe in life insurance. They say that life insurance is the hardest sale of all. But in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips that will have you closing more business in no time. Now make sure to stay till the end, because my last tip that I'll be sharing with you will completely transform every conversation that you have about life insurance. Welcome back to Advancing Insurance Professionals channel, where we teach insurance professionals how to skyrocket their growth and success in the new workplace. Here is my first tip for selling more life insurance in 2022. Consumers today want to do business with someone that they connect with, someone that gets them, that understands their pain. This is why completing a target market analysis is critical to your success in 2022 and beyond. A target market analysis is essentially the research that you do on the market that you want to work with, so that you can rise above the noise and connect with your target market more efficiently and close more business. One of the biggest secrets to closing more business is connection. And as I always say, the deeper the connection, the greater the conversion. A target market analysis is going to allow you to connect much more deeper with your customers. Completing a target market analysis will give you great insight into the pain of your target market. For example, when you sell a term policy, who is your target market? When you sell an IUL, who is your target market? Each audience has a different pain point, and that's why it's so important for you to understand what those pain points are. For example, when I worked with Allstate agents and helped them get to their life insurance goals, I had primarily 3 different markets that I worked with. I had my young families, I had my savvy business owners, and I had my baby boomers that were either retired or approaching retirement. Each group had their own individual pain points. My young families, their pain point was to make sure that if worst case scenario happened, their spouse and their children would be taken care of. My savvy business owners had a much different pain point, as did my baby boomers, who were simply looking to leave a legacy no matter what age they passed away. By understanding their pain, I was able to connect with them and move them into action. Essentially, I was able to speak their language. The second thing that you will gain from doing a target market analysis on every segment that you work with is you will understand what it is that your customers want, what it is that they desire. For my young families, they desired to have peace of mind that if they were to pass away today, their spouse and their children would not take a huge financial hit. The desire for my baby boomers was once they transitioned and passed away, they wanted to make sure they could do so in peace, knowing that they left a legacy for their loved ones. Now, the third piece that a target market analysis will give you is it will allow you to understand how you can be the guide for your customer and move them away from the pain and towards their desire. Marketing guru Donald Miller explains it best when he shares that in order to really connect with a prospect in today's overcrowded workplace, we need to know their pain so that we can act as the guide and be the one that takes them from where they're at to where they desire to be. My second tip for selling more life insurance in 2022 is to create a life insurance focus in your agency. It was during my time of working with Allstate agents that I quickly discovered that there was never a lack of opportunity in any agent's book. There was simply a lack of focus. There were no systems, no processes on educating clients on life insurance and having the most important conversation of all. Just like the law of physics states that an object in motion will stay in motion. We need to get things started in your agency by starting to have the conversation, starting to have processes and systems in place that will allow you to have this conversation with every single person in your book of business. Now, here is a great way to create a life insurance focus. Have a sales campaign. In fact, in the quarter coming up, have a life insurance awareness sales campaign for that quarter. especially post-COVID. Every quarter should be life insurance awareness quarter because the demand for life insurance has increased 50% just since the beginning of the pandemic. So there is a ton of opportunity on the table. So the way that this would work is this quarter, you get a system in place to have this conversation with a specific segment in your book of business. Perhaps it's with every new customer that you write business on, or perhaps it's every customer who has an auto policy with you already. You can create a system to have 5 to 10 conversations with your auto policy owners, simply educating them on how much they need in case worst case scenario happened. Imagine for a moment that they were killed in an auto accident and you never had that life insurance conversation with them. I am certain that their spouse and their children would have a few questions for you. So not only would you be doing what is best for your customer, but you would also be protecting yourself in the process. The key to a successful sales campaign, first of all, have a lead list. You got to know exactly who it is that you are going to call. Second, you have to know exactly what you're going to say. So if your team members are working on this campaign, make sure you give them some talking points, a script that they could follow and that they feel comfortable with. And last but certainly not least, make sure you reward your team because that is going to be key in the success of your sales campaign. Tip number 3. Change your why. One of the things that I see often with agents when they struggle with selling life insurance is that they're really uncomfortable having the life insurance conversation, and understandably so. It is a much more intimate conversation than simply talking about an auto or a homeowner's policy. We often forget that although life insurance is one of the hardest insurance vehicles to sell, it is also one of the most important to educate your customers about. If you're going to take any tip from this video, take this tip and run with it, because how we feel about life insurance dictates how our prospects and customers are going to feel in the presentation as well. I wanted to share with you a quick story that changed my why early on in my career, and it was the driving force behind every customer conversation that I had. My first year selling life insurance, I met a gentleman by the name of Mr. Hernandez. He was the sweetest and kindest man, and I remember our conversation because it was so important to him to have protection for his wife and children. Now, Mr. Hernandez did not have a big budget. In fact, his whole family thought he was crazy for spending money on life insurance. As my experience up to that point had been with the Hispanic community, that life insurance wasn't exactly their jam. They really believed, and this is something Mr. Hernandez shared with me, that the family would come together and take care of their own. But Mr. Hernandez was firm, and he purchased a 20-year term policy for $300,000. I checked in with Mr. Hernandez on an annual basis, and then on the 3rd year of his policy, Mr. Hernandez went into work one day at 53 years old and dropped dead. I can't explain to you how grateful I was for writing this policy for him. That story has fueled my why, because every time I get in front of a customer, I am reminded of the difference that I was able to make in Mr. Hernandez's life and his survivors as well. Friends, you will never understand until you get your first death claim the value of a life insurance policy. And so I know it's easy to get stuck in our routine of doing things a certain way. And if you have yet to begin talking about life insurance, it's definitely a learning curve, but it will be the best thing that you can do for you and your customers. Those are my 3 tips for selling more life insurance in 2022 and beyond. Now, if you want to learn more about completing a target market analysis, make sure to watch this video where I dive into all the ins and outs of a successful target market analysis. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video and if you found value, please make sure to hit the bell, hit the subscribe link so you never have to miss another video again.